Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the TGIF Business Networking Hangout. I'm your host, Melanie MacDonald, Brand Identity and Outreach Strategy Consultant. Sorry we're starting a little late today. We were having some technical difficulties, and especially when the host crashes and has to restart her computer, things get a little bit hung up. As usual, we're going to let everybody in the peanut gallery joining us start out with their introductions. Today, our topic is the Perfect Close Telesummit. Now, the Perfect Close Telesummit is being produced and hosted by our special guest, Abbie Joseph Harrington, and we've got a couple of other great panelists joining us as well who are going to be participants in that Perfect Close Telesummit. So we'll learn, first of all, what is the Perfect Close Telesummit, and we're going to talk about how it was produced. How did Abbie put it together? How did she come up with the idea for it? Or where did that idea come from? What is the purpose of it? Why is she doing it? That sort of thing. And a little bit about the logistics of how is she producing it, what technologies are being used, that sort of thing. Then we will also talk about what will be learned in the Telesummit. What is the Telesummit going to present? What information is going to be provided? And what do the expert speakers that Abbie has invited to participate have to contribute to the Telesummit and to the people who are going to join and listen in? What are they going to be learning from it? So let's start with Erlend Bakke. Is it Bakke or Bakke, Erlend?
Bakke or Bakke, if you say it in Norwegian.
Okay. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got started.
Okay, so I am the author of the best-selling book Never Work Again. I am big in outsourcing. I basically help busy entrepreneurs outsource to the Philippines. I also have, so basically I have 3 companies. 2 are photography related. One is related to helping busy entrepreneurs outsource to the Philippines. I've been an entrepreneur for 8 years. Currently live in London, spend my time in London, Oslo, and Davao City in the Philippines. That's where I spend most of my time. But I typically travel 6 months a year to any destination I like, living what I call the freedom lifestyle, running my businesses through my laptop.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, unfortunately, my sound kicked out a little bit. I didn't hear everything you said, but the other folks in here said they did. So hopefully it is being recorded and will be on the replay. I don't know if it's recording just from my machine or just in general. So hopefully that was all recorded. If
I'm
not,
crossing both my fingers.
Oh, and I'll ask you to repeat it again near the end of the show too.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, John, you're up next. John Jurkiewicz.
Thanks, Melanie. That's Jurkiewicz in Polish, English, or whatever language you want to put it in. I am the host of the Career Corner 2.0. I also host the Monday morning motivational here on Google+. I own Jurkiewicz Consulting Services. I'm a firm believer in the fact that business should be fun. I really don't like dealing with people who wear shirts 4 sizes too small and look at you like the world's about coming to an end. What I do is I actually act as a conduit and a change agent for my clients, which means every business is different, and I fully subscribe to Erlend's theory about outsourcing. The more a small business owner can outsource, the more time they have to grow their business and invest their time and resource in the things they do. And I'd be a fool not to be, because I'm one of the people that gets outsourced too. So glad to be with y'all.
Awesome. And John and Erlend, and actually me also, are all going to be guests on Abbie's Telesummit. She's going to be interviewing us, and our interviews are going to be part of that summit. Our next guest is joining us as just a participant in the networking hangout, and that is Linda Jesse. Linda, please introduce yourself and let us know what you do. And unmute yourself. There you go.
Good morning. I am an owner of a home care agency, and I send caregivers out. I refer caregivers to people who are in need, and the nice thing about what I do is I help put out fires, and I'm part of solutions for people. So that's what I do.
And Linda is also a fellow member of my Toastmasters Club, and you are also, what? The big role that you play?
The division director. Ooh!
Ooh, division director, congratulations. Moving up. She's about to get her DTM, and if you're a Toastmaster, you know what that means. And if you're not, contact me afterwards, and I'll tell you what it means. And now we're going to go on to our special featured guest, Abbie Joseph Harrington. The Perfect Close Summit is her baby. She's the one putting it all together. So Abbie, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background and what makes you so perfect for the perfect close. And then we'll start talking about the summit a little bit.
Wonderful. Thank you, Melanie. And it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I am the founder and CEO of Eyes on Greatness, LLC, and I am a sales coach. And so the Perfect Close Summit, yes, is part of my program. I have 35 years of sales experience. I started off in the car business, very young, a long time ago. Spent more than 27 years in the car business, and then I moved from there into timeshare sales. So I spent the greater part of my life in very, how shall I say it, hardcore, high-pressure sales situations, and I had to very quickly develop a way to be successful in selling in those environments and still stay true to my values and be in integrity. So I developed a selling system that's based on trust and integrity and really building relationships and selling from the heart. And now I'm offering my services to the world, to small business owners, to entrepreneurs, to salespeople, because there's so much emotion around selling and so much fear wrapped up in it that it can be a really difficult conversation for a lot of people to have, and yet it really can be fun. And it can be a win-win, and you can be very successful in sales and still sleep at night. So my summit, I'm bringing together more than 21 experts in their own fields of selling to talk about how their skills, their expertise help small business owners and entrepreneurs in the sales process. Everyone sort of has a unique take on that. And the key to the summit is that our audience will actually be able to come away with concrete steps, strategies, tips, things that they can turn around and implement immediately in their businesses and see a dramatic shift in their sales results.
Awesome. And so what is the Perfect Close Telesummit? Let's start with that one.
What is it?
Yes, what is it?
Okay. The summit is recorded interviews. I have right now, there are approximately 24 expert speakers. I have recorded interviews with them, and then we will go live with those interviews on July 7th, and it'll run from July 7th to July 14th. And anyone is welcome to opt in. It's completely free. And they'll just be able to listen at their leisure to these fantastic interviews and come away with actionable, implementable techniques, tips, and strategies for improving their sales results.
So you're starting out by interviewing your guests that you're going to have, your guest experts, and you're interviewing them by phone?
Correct. I'm utilizing the technology of instant teleseminar so that we can record through a web call every interview and replay them, and then have them available at the end as a bundle that anyone who is interested can purchase that bundle of interviews, add them to their library of resources, and have them available forever.
And then when you say replay them, where are you replaying them? How are they being replayed? How are the people who are wanting to listen to them doing so?
They'll be released daily. We'll have 3 to 4 interviews released each day from July 7th to July 14th. So they can someone who has opted in for the summit can choose, this is an interview I'm really interested in, because they'll receive daily emails telling them who the speakers of the day are and what their specialty is, so they can pick and choose which interviews resonate the most with them. And of course, if they wanted to, they could listen to all interviews.
How are they listening to them? Are they on a website? Are they hearing them on the telephone? I mean, when you say that they're listening to them, how is that happening?
Okay, so they're housed in Instant Teleseminar, but there is an event page, and they only need one link, and I'll provide that link. They go to that event page every day, and those interviews will be available. They just click on play, and the interview will play for them as if it's happening for them right at that moment. Okay,
so there's a website, and they'll go to that page, and there will be a sound file posted, and they'll get to listen to it.
Correct.
And you notify them by email each time a new one is released, or?
We don't know. I'm not going to notify everyone each time one is released, because we're releasing 3 to 4 a day, and I don't want to fill up everybody's inbox. So we'll do one daily email telling them which interviews are being released that day and what times they can expect to have those available.
Okay. Awesome. So that sounds like a really neat way to reach out to people and to provide a lot of information to them, and for people to come in and get the information really on their schedule when it's convenient to them. So I have another question I want to ask you, but before I do that, I want to remind anybody out there who might be watching that if you have any questions, please do go ahead and post them in the comments of the event page. I'll be watching those and passing them on to our special guests. And also, if you'd like to join in, there is a join link in the comments of the event page. You can come in and ask your questions if you like. This is an open networking hangout. It's not just an interview hangout. So do feel free to come in and join us inside the hangout if you like. Now, what I want to hear about, Abbie, you told me a little bit over the phone and in Hangouts when we previously met, is the purpose of this Telesummit. What is the purpose of the Telesummit for the people who are being involved in producing it, being your interviewees, and for you?
For those of us actually involved in producing the summit, the purpose is twofold. One is to create a community of entrepreneurs who have the same values and the same feeling about the sales process. The second is, this is a list building exercise, if you will. So there is a requirement that everyone participating as an expert on the Telesummit be willing to promote to their base, to their email list, to their Google Plus circles, to their Facebook fans, so that we get opt-ins coming from every speaker's tribe, if you will. And so the cool thing about it is I'll promote to my base, and when my folks are interested in opting in, they might opt in then and love what Erlend has to say, and therefore they'll go get his free gift, and now he's added those names to his list, and vice versa. So everyone who's participating is going to be able to grow their list just by being willing to take the time to be an expert on the summit. So again, I'm all about win-win, and this is very much a win-win process. So it's a list build and also a community build. I'm going to have a Facebook page that will be private just for those folks who have opted in and for all of the speakers. So again, we can grow that community, have those conversations, and everyone will have an opportunity to promote themselves and what they offer and what they bring to the table, what resources we can make available to those various tribes.
Okay. That is really awesome, and it sounds like a great way for everybody involved to kind of, in one fell swoop, increase awareness of themselves, to network with each other and each other's audiences, and increase their own audience. So I have to ask you, was this your brainchild? I know we talked a little bit about this yesterday too, so there's some amazing questions.
Well, I would love to take credit for it. It is not my brainchild. Telesummits are not all that new out there in the world of online marketing. However, when I decided that I wanted to pursue a telesummit, it brand new to me. I did not know exactly how to put this together and all of the backside, because there is quite a bit of stuff in the background that goes on. So I did actually join a program, and it's a 1-year-long coaching program focused on telesummits. And in this program, we will do a minimum of 2, if not 3 telesummits throughout the year to build our lists. And then once you have your list built, then you can market to your list. So I am investing in my business, investing in myself through this coaching program, and building my telesummit based on the guidelines provided in that program.
Awesome. And so if anybody else wants to know what this coaching program is in particular, you can contact Abbie afterwards, and she'll be happy to tell you all about it. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. All right, let me go and say a couple of shout outs. I want to say hi to Christopher Pearsall. Hi, Christopher. Thanks for watching and for letting us know if we're broadcasting. Hopefully we are. Our Hangout window says we are. And if you'd like to join us, please do come in. I sent you an invite. And hi, Pamela. Thanks for coming in and saying hi and saying good luck on the Telesummit. Always a pleasure to see you or say hi to you in the morning. If anybody, again, has any questions, please go ahead and post them to the event page. And, oh, I see Joyce is out there. She says she can see us, but we can't hear her. That's because you're not in here, Joyce. So, but I see you are on the event page. What I'd like you to do, Joyce, is scroll down the comments of the event page, and you will see that I've posted a link to join in. So click that link and you can come into the Hangout, and in fact I will repost it in a new comment for you, so it's at the top, and hopefully you will be able to come in again and join us in here. And Joyce is another sales closing expert who's going to be involved in the summit. We were having a little bit of problems getting her in this morning. Hopefully she'll be able to come in. Okay. Now we're going to start talking a little bit about what is going to be in the summit, what kind of information is going to be provided in the summit. So as Abbie mentioned, she's going to be doing interviews that are 45 minutes to an hour for each of the special guests that she has invited to participate in the summit. I'm going to be one of those guests, and what we'll be talking about in Abbie's interview with me is Hangouts and the power of using Hangouts to make those connections with your prospective customers and clients. As you all know, if you've been watching TGIF for a while, it's a great tool to be able to make more of a connection than if you're just typing in words, because everybody loves to see the face, everybody loves to see the smile, everybody loves to see, you know, what you're kind of like in person, and you get that a lot more through these wonderful video conferences that we have called Hangout. So that is going to be what I will be talking about, how TGIF has been a great tool for me in my outreach and about the connections that I've made. So I'm looking forward to that with you. And yay, Joyce made it in here. I'm going to mute you just for a second, Joyce, till you get all settled in. And then we will come to you for an introduction in just a little bit, okay? Right now, I'm going to go to Erlend. And Erlend, please unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about...
I will unmute myself. There, done.
Oh, you're unmuted. So tell us, what is your interview with Abbie going to be about? What are you going to be telling the audience who's going to be listening into this Telesummit?
So I've built my businesses actually leveraging other people's time. So one of the things I talk about is how to motivate people to work for you, because actually getting people into your company is a sales job. You have to have a vision that they appeal to them so that they are willing to work for you. Now, a lot of small business owners think that if you have a small business, then that's not so as appealing as a big corporation. But the thing is, when you work for a big corporation, you're not really able to do tasks that have a massive impact on the bottom line. But when you are working for a small business, you're able to do the kind of things that you always wanted to do in a corporation. So my interview is highly focused on how to recruit staff, how to delegate, getting into the mindset of the business owner, because business owners think very differently than solopreneurs or entrepreneurs or business operators. Business owners think very differently in terms of how they build their business, and they're always asking themselves, who can I get to do this for me, rather than, I need to get this done. So I'm always looking for talented people that can execute the kind of things. I actually don't like the word execute. It sounds like I'm executing somebody. But yeah, I'm always looking for talented people that can help me build my business, build my company. So if I'm at an event or if I'm at a dinner, I'm always interested in what people do and what they can do for me. So I'm an expert at outsourcing to the Philippines, so I talk a lot about that as well.
Now, is that sort of a one-way street where you are the person hiring and they are the service provider, or is it more of a two-way street where you're forming collaborations where it's not just about what they can do for you, but also about what you can do for them?
Absolutely. So there's always that going on. So one of the things that I always have people do is fill in a form I call it's called the 3 most important questions exercise, created by Mind Valley, and in there you basically fill in what kind of experiences you want to have in your life. So if it's working from anywhere in the world from a laptop, then you can think about that. Okay, this person wants to do that. Like, how can we work together and make that happen? Right? Some people say, I've always wanted to write a book. Well, maybe you can write a book for our company about something. So I'm always asking them, like, what kind of experiences do you want to have in your life? How do you want to grow as a person? And then lastly, how do you want to contribute? So when people answer that honestly, and you can tell when people are bullshitting on that kind of form. When people answer honestly, you get a real insight into who they really are and what they really want to achieve, and then you can figure out whether you can help them achieve those things. So that's something that I use on a regular basis with my key manager staff, and also when I'm interviewing people, if people kind of go through to me, because typically I have somebody else interview people first, and then I'm kind of like the second or third interview. And then I look at that form and I say, okay, is this person somebody that we can actually help fulfill their dreams? Because it's all about collaboration. It's all about, when you build a business or have a business, you're in an ecosystem. So if you're in the self-development industry, that attracts a certain type of people, a certain type of professionals. So how do you operate in that kind of ecosystem? If you're in real estate, then that's a slightly different ecosystem. So if you push a little something in that ecosystem, it has a kind of a ripple effect around the whole community. So yeah, it's always about thinking about more than just yourself. I don't think in the U.S. they have horse pulling competitions. And I believe the winner last year pulled 7,000 pounds. The horse in the second place pulled 6,000 pounds. How much do you guys think they pulled together? So basically, they hooked up the horses next to each other, and they were pulling some weight. How much do you think they pulled together?
3 times as much.
Well, yes, they pulled 30,000 pounds. So that's the same thing in business, and it actually took me years and years to really understand this. And I didn't start out going like, oh, outsourcing is going to be my thing. It just worked for me, right? So outsourcing to the Philippines just worked for me. And instead of paying somebody sort of $5,000 to $10,000 a month, you can get away with $500 to $1,000. It used to be cheaper, but because of the economic growth in the Philippines, it's now cheaper. But you're spending 1/10 of the price, which means you can actually have 10 people working for you instead of 1, which means you attract a lot more business to your company. A lot of people think that outsourcing actually kills U.S. jobs. That's not the case. It's just that you create more value, and when you create more value, you get more value, and you can actually employ more staff in the U.S. So in Norway we have people working in the company, but we also have people working in Croatia and Canada, Australia, and the Philippines. So it's not like we only outsource to the Philippines. It's like we source people for what we need to have done.
And where are you located?
Right now I'm in London. I am heading back to Oslo next Friday. Just came back from 1 year living in New York. So just I'm sitting in my new apartment here in London, and it's nice to be back. Nice to be back here. It's actually time zone wise, for somebody that has and does business in all time zones, London is the ideal place to be, because in the morning you can do business with the East, and then throughout the day you can do business in the U.S. So I found it quite challenging being in New York, because I had to get up very, very early to coordinate with people in the East. So London's perfect for business, for running a global empire.
Mr. International, how cool is that? That's one of the things I love about these Hangouts, is that we can connect with people all over the world and still face-to-face see his beautiful smile and just make that relationship grow. Wonderful. Thank you so much. You have so much to offer. I'm really looking forward to hearing your interview with Abbie during that Telesummit. Before we go on, Joyce, I'm going to ask you to please look at your chat box. If you remember to mouse around on your Hangout window and you see those icons on the left, the top one is the blue square chat box. And we've got some instructions for you in there. We'll help you get your lower third turned on before it's your turn to speak. And while we're doing that, we'll go ahead next to John. Oh, and before we do that, Linda, do you have any questions so far? Or are you good?
No, I'm good. I'm enjoying listening to all of this. This is great, and I appreciate you letting me join you today.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you. We appreciate you being here. Okay, so John, same question for you. What is it that your interview with Abbie is going to be about? What kind of information will you be presenting to the listeners in this Telesummit?
Well, it's interesting. Erlend said he hated the word execute. I hate the word tradition. Okay? And for years and years and years, we took branding, and we said branding was only something that we confined to the marketing area of a product or a service. Well, I deal with people 150%, and I was nodding my head, Erlend, as you were talking, because what I'm going to talk about is, what are you really trying to sell? And what you're trying to sell is yourself. Because you can have the greatest product, you can have the greatest service in the world, but if you haven't tapped into your brand, i.e. that which makes you uniquely you, people aren't going to buy. Now I'm going to tell you a little story. I don't have to make these up. I got millions of them. I was at a 2.5-hour network event before I came to this Hangout. There was a gentleman I've been working with, and he came up to me, and he's looking for employment in the traditional marketplace, and he kind of was acting a little down. And I said, Ted, what's wrong? And he said, John, I've sent out 400 resumes. I've had 20 initial interviews and no follow-ups. I said, first of all, I love you. And I usually say that before I get ready to deliver some bad news. But I said, it's not you and it's not your requirements. It's how you've branded that. You're not making a connection for somebody to be interested in what you're trying to sell, which is you. So whether you're in the traditional marketplace, whether you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, okay, one of the questions I ask people right off the bat is, are your personal values aligned with your business values? And I'll usually, when I'm coaching somebody, I'll say to them, let's take a week. Think about that when we get back together again. Let's talk about that question. And over 80% of the people I deal with come back and say, you know, I thought about it, and I'm really living two lives. I've got my personal life, and then there's my business life. Okay. And we see that. When you go to buy, whether it's a coach, a consultant, an automobile, an appliance, we're buying that person. We're buying their integrity. And please don't misunderstand me. I think most people fail because they don't know who they are. So one of the things I walk people through is an exercise I created about 2 years ago that helps you kind of distill all that down into a personal understanding of what you have to offer, and then creates the authenticity of yourself. Second point is, we don't deal with this a whole lot. Melanie and I have talked about this second point a lot. There's a difference between an elevator pitch and a sales pitch, and people don't realize that. You know, your elevator pitch is, hey, Erlend, my name's John, and by the time we get to the 15th floor, you're going to know what I do. My sales pitch is, hey, Erlend, I'd really love to do some work for you, and here's why I'll be effective. And people don't see that. They don't realize that. So if I sit down to interview with Erlend or anybody else, I'm going to launch into my elevator pitch, and then when I look to see if he's awake or not, it doesn't resonate. So what are you really selling? That's the key question. And that's kind of the gist of my interview.
Awesome. Wow, how do you like that, folks? You're getting 45-minute interviews kind of condensed into 5 minutes or so here on the TGIF Business Networking Hangout. But make sure you listen to those whole interviews, because what you're getting here is just a taste and a teaser, and what you'll get there is a lot of really great information that you can put into practice to help you close your sales more effectively. Okay. I'm going to go to Joyce. And Joyce, before we begin, I would like to help you put your custom lower third on, because we made a really nice custom one for you yesterday.
I would love that.
Okay. So go into your, and consider this a little lesson for any folks out there watching who are interested in Hangout. Joyce, go back into that Hangout toolbox. And when you do, and you click on the head in the circle, underneath the part where it says lower third, you want to turn your lower third off, and then you want to choose custom upload.
That's the mistake I was making.
Yeah. So now choose custom upload.
Okay.
And when you choose custom upload, you'll get a box so you can choose that nice file that we made for you yesterday for your custom lower third, and then turn that slider to on after you have that loaded.
Okay, I actually don't see in the box, I actually don't see the piece that you worked on for me.
Well, you have to, you'll have to find wherever it is that you stored it on your computer. So when I emailed it to you, you need to have downloaded it to your computer.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry, I did not do that.
Oops, and I lost her sound, so I don't know if the rest of you can hear her or not. So nod yes if you downloaded the file from your email.
I did not.
You did not? Okay. If you want to take a few minutes to go do that and turn it on, go ahead. If you want to just go ahead and put on the lower third that you had back on, turn that back on and speak, why don't we do that? Because I don't want to miss your portion of this show. So thank you for struggling and getting in here. I really admire your perseverance for someone who is, this is your very first Hangout on air, and I feel really honored to have you here, and I feel really happy and inspired that despite all these difficulties that you are just persevering and you made it in here and you came in here and you don't give up. And I went to your website and read that you actually have a little section about not giving up and keeping going.
That's right.
So you are living what you are promoting out there. So please, Joyce, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background and what you do, and then tell us what you're going to be interviewed about on the Telesummit.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you so much to you and to Addie for being here today. And I'm sorry, this is my first Hangout. It will not be my last because I get really irritated when I don't know how to do things. So I will be working on Hangout information. I am Joyce Brown, and I have a company, the Sales Savvy CEO. And very much, first of all, I agree with everything that Addie and John and everyone said. It's just, you know, it's amazing how we all think so much alike. It's because we're so smart, obviously. And I'm teasing about that. If you were smart, you'd know how to do Hangout, right? But I have a company that I developed after 30-plus years working in corporate sales, and I sold very high-end services to Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies with about an 18-month length of sales. So those of you who have done sales understand patience when you hear that. And when I was finished with that, something I'd always wanted to do was to share with entrepreneurs. I love entrepreneurs. So I became one, and one of the things that I knew prior to doing that, because I have many friends who are in the entrepreneurial world, many entrepreneurs fear sales, dread sales, and don't do sales. And so I'm here to help the rest of you teach people that nothing goes anywhere without sales taking place. And I love what I'm doing. I'm coaching and mentoring and teaching. And the way that I use to set myself apart a little bit, and it fits very much in with what others have said, is I use a personality assessment. And I want the seller, the student, the client, to get in touch with who they are first before they go out to interact with others. And it works well. It gives people a sense of confidence. And for those of us who are doing this, it helps me be able to coach them better because I know more about them. So we use the personality, and then we teach them, like I said, confidence and a few sales techniques, and then we ride the wave with them when they're working through their funnel and learning how to do what makes higher revenues for them and allows them to leave their mark on the world. It's very fulfilling for me.
Oh, that's really awesome. I love it. And so I'm looking forward to hearing your interview, too, as well on Abbie's show. Now, let's see, we are at 9:48. We are surprisingly on time, given that we had a little bit of a late start. Yay. And Joyce, you know, you said some things about being smart and knowing how to do Hangouts. That one has nothing to do with the other. Trust me.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
You sound pretty brilliant to me. And, you know, like anything else, when you're using a new technology, you're not just going to get it by osmosis. You have to practice a few times. So I think
I hate that part of it.
I know, right? Don't we all? But wouldn't you say that it's the same for sales?
Absolutely. And, you know, and 90% of it is having the courage to step out there and learn what's going to make it so much easier for you. I laughingly say sales is not rocket science. It is just learning to put one foot in front of the other and do the things that might not come as easy for you as some other things, but it can be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Now, I have a question for our panelists, and actually I'm going to direct this one to Abbie because so far we've heard her talking about producing the summit, but she's also a very accomplished saleswoman. If you look at her bio on LinkedIn, it's really, really impressive what she's done with the companies that she's worked with, large companies, and how much she has done in sales for them. So, Abbie, for so many of us, when I say us, I mean small business owners and solopreneurs out there, people who found themselves put into their own business. Maybe they lost their jobs in the down economy. Now they're out there doing it for themselves. And before, they worked in a company where they were doing something, but they weren't having necessarily to do the sales or the closing, because that was a different department. And there is a big block, and people say, I don't want to be that used car sales guy. I don't want to be that salesperson. I don't want to be that pushy person. I hate asking for money. So give me 3 bullet point tips of advice that you can give to these people with these kinds of hang-ups, about overcoming those hang-ups and how to change their own mindset so that they are not their own biggest block.
The first bullet point, and by the way, you're completely right, and that I love that you said that, because that's what my focus is. It's getting over the fear and that all of those impressions that we have of that awful salesperson. And believe me, having spent 27 years in the car business, I'm really familiar with that. I do love them, however. Those guys are amazing. And I must say, it's interesting in the car business, it was always a young, single man's world. Still is today. You walk into a car store and 99% of the folks there will be young, single males. And here I was, at the time when I started, a young, married female with children, and now I'm a grandmother with 6 kids and 4 grandkids and still working in sales. So no matter who you are, you can be successful in it. But I guess the 3 bullet points I would give you. Number 1, everything you're doing in the sales process is about serving your customer and your client. So it's not about selling, it's not about making money, it's not about anything to do with you, it's everything to do with them. So if you can enter that conversation solely with the focus on how can I serve the needs of this person, what pain do they have, what is lacking for them, and how can I serve them, without seeing that as in any way beneficial to me. That's number 1. I am a servant of my customers and my clients. Number 2, it's really a cliche, but it's so true. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And again, all of my success, and I have been very successful. I've personally sold millions upon millions of dollars of products and services. I've run teams that have sold hundreds of millions of dollars in services. But I have in my program, for example, I have a huge section on sharing and caring. Because unless they know that you truly care about them and their situation as a human being, whenever any of us buy something, we're really not buying that thing. We're buying the person who is offering it to us. And no one likes to be sold, but everybody loves to buy, right? So if I can share and be vulnerable and allow them to see who I really am and allow them to basically fall in love with me because I've already fallen in love with them, then the sale is inevitable. So number 1 is a spirit of giving and serving. Number 2 is sharing and caring. And number 3 is telling stories. In the world today, we really lack that personal connection so often because everything is fast and everything is electronic and everything is in little sound bites. But if I can share something with you that shows you that I'm a real person and I can tell a story that you can relate to and I can find that common ground. So I'll give you an example. A lot of people are familiar with the game 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Do you all know that game?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So it's just based on the premise that this entire world, all these billions of people, we're only separated from every other person on the planet by 6 people. right? 6 degrees of separation. So I know someone who knows 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 Kevin Bacon, the actor, right?
Right.
So when I'm talking to a potential client or customer, I kind of make it a game. Who do I know that they know? Where have I been that they've been? Do I know someone who does the same kind of work that they do? I had a situation the other day where I just shared, it was appropriate for the conversation, but I shared that I come from a family of 5 kids and I was the middle child, and I suffered terribly from middle child syndrome my entire life. I still suffer from middle child syndrome. And this woman that I was speaking with said, "Oh my gosh, I'm the middle child of 7. I know exactly what you're talking about." And all of a sudden, our relationship, our conversation completely changed, because now it was as if we'd known each other forever. And her feeling comfortable and wanting to work with me, again, was inevitable at that point that we established that connection. So my 3 bullet points are to serve, to share and care, and to tell stories.
Okay. And so I'm just going to summarize that last one. Tell stories is you're building a rapport by telling your stories and listening to theirs, because you'll find some common ground that will enable you to establish and build a relationship with that person.
Exactly. And it will be a long-term relationship, not just that one, incident. So, yeah, totally. And active listening, I love that you pulled that out, because active listening is key. When you're having the sales conversation, you cannot be thinking about what you're going to say next. I know it's a habit that we all have. We're in our own head, and we're thinking of, okay, so how can I overcome that objection, and what do I say next? We need to stop, and we need to be active listeners, totally focused on what the person is saying, and know in our hearts that when they're done speaking, we will already intuitively know what to say and how to reply.
Yes. That is great. And active listening is, I think it's a trait that is not as prevalent as it really ought to be, because everybody wants to tell their story. And in that rush to tell their story, they're forgetting that everybody else wants to tell their story too. We have to also listen to all the stories. If we want people to listen to our stories, we've got to listen to theirs. And actually, I'm going to go to Linda for this. Because she's a fellow Toastmaster, and that's one of the skill sets that we actually work on a lot at our Toastmasters meetings. Isn't that right, Linda? Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's so important to be able to connect with somebody, and when you're standing in front of the room and people are looking at you, and sometimes as you say something, if you're speaking too clinically or if you're speaking over their head, they gloss over. So by being able to connect with them by telling a story, I have grandkids too. I have 5 children just like you have 6. So now we're connected in that way.
Exactly.
And I now have walked in the same steps that somebody else has walked in.
Right. And I love that in our Toastmasters group also we do, if you've never been to a Toastmasters meeting, there's a format that we follow. We have a couple people who speak, they give a speech, and whoever gives a speech gets an evaluation afterwards. So we have another Toastmaster member stand up and evaluate them. So this is a great listening exercise, because the evaluator really has to listen to the speech, has to watch the speaker and comment on their delivery of it. Not the content, not give their opinion on what the speaker was saying, but to give the speaker tips and advice on how they're delivering it. And part of how they're delivering it is how well they are connecting with the audience. So there's a lot of exercises that both help us to tell our stories and help us to develop our listening skills. And, I've always got to promote my Toastmasters on my show, so you have to deal with it because I'm the host. I would like to share a comment from Christopher. Hi, Christopher. And he says, and he was commenting on what John was saying, and agreeing, perfect, they're buying you. People buy from you because they know, like, and trust you. And I really think that that reinforces what Abbie was telling us too about making that connection and telling stories and making the relationships, and also what Erlend was saying about building those connections and bringing people around you who can contribute, and what do they want out of it, and what do they want to contribute to it. So it's all right there, knowing, liking, and trusting you, and that comes from making the connection, talking to them, and listening to them. Okay, now we have come, oh, my lower third is backward. Let me turn that around again. We have come already to the end of the show. It is 10 o'clock a.m. We got a little bit of a start, so we're going to go a little bit over. I'm going to let all of our people who joined us in the peanut gallery give their last thoughts and promos that they have coming up. Abbie will go last because she's the special featured guest. So Erlend, we're going to let you go first. Do you have anything coming up that you would like to promote? Any last tips that you want to get out, or last thoughts on the Hangout? And okay, yes, I think you're muted. So unmute yourself and try again.
That's a good idea.
There we go. Okay, show us that book again. And tell us what it is.
Check out Never Work Again on Amazon. If you go to youwillneverworkagain.com, you can get a free book called Outsourcing Mastery, 17 Secrets on How to Outsource to the Philippines. What's going on right now is that if you go to mroutsource.com, you can actually get a 30-minute free business consultation with one of our experts. We will look at your business, we will look at your business model and figure out what parts of your business you should be outsourcing. And of course, we can then help you with doing that work as well. So that's what I have to offer here today. It's been a true pleasure being here. I've really enjoyed this hangout. It's my first panel hangout. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, and thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy with all your outsourcing and managing and everything else, and again, just thank you so much for joining us. I'm
not that busy because I outsource.
Oh, well, awesome. Then I think you just made the point, didn't you? Okay, John, up to you now.
Yeah, what I've got coming up, and as you'll see on my lower third, it says the Career Corner 2.0. I've completely revamped my Thursday Hangout. It's only going to be 15 minutes long. It's going to bring an expert in who's going to give a tip to help anybody who's in business, solopreneur, entrepreneur, small business owner. What I'm really excited to announce is that my first guest next Thursday to kick off the new to kick off the new format has more energy than is necessary to light up the entire United States. She is the host of her own Google Hangout.
Wait, let me guess.
She is a superb online marketer, and she is Carrie Roldan. And I actually was going to have a contest to see who was going to be my first guest, and the first 8 people already said, oh, it's Carrie. Okay, so Carrie Roldan is really an exceptional online marketer, and she's going to share a 15-minute tip. We talked yesterday, and she said, let me get back to you on Monday as to what I'm going to talk about. Everybody has 15 minutes in their day that they can spare to sit and listen to a tip that may help you grow your business. Shout out to Melanie. I've learned a lot just listening to portions of her Hangout that have helped my business. So that's what I got going on. And thanks for having me.
Awesome. John, if you don't mind, I want to ask you one more question, and that
Certainly.
is, the Career Corner 2.0 was originally a half hour, is that correct?
It was originally an hour.
It was originally an hour, and then it went to a half hour, and now it's going to 15 minutes. So let me ask you, what is spurring those changes? Why did you go from an hour to a half hour, and then why now from a half hour to 15 minutes?
Simply put, everybody's busy. Everybody's got a lot going on. There are Hangouts, and please, the folks who host the long ones, I listen to a lot of those in the background while I'm working, but I sat down and asked myself, what's the point you really want to get across? Now, the other reason and motivating factor for it was I also do a Monday morning motivation. That's a 5-minute hangout every Monday morning. My viewership spiked when I went to 5 minutes. Okay? Everybody's got 5 minutes. And while I'm not a Toastmaster, unfortunately, you know, okay, that if you can't say it in a short period of time, sometimes it's not worth saying. So one of the challenges is give people something they can use, something that'll be memorable, and give it to them in a short period of time. Now that works for my demographic and for my brand. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think that I can reinforce that because my guests know that I require all guests to have a pre-TGIF Hangout meeting so that we can go over the format and everything beforehand. And one of the things I was telling them yesterday was when you answer a question, summarize it afterwards in bullet points. And that's why I asked Abbie to give her 3 tips in bullet point format, because A, it's great for the audience, it helps reinforce it for them, they can remember short snippets, but B, also it becomes great material and content for the guest who is speaking. So Abbie's 3 points that she gave about sales, I'm going to post into the event comments and the event page. And those are now little golden nuggets that she can copy and use in Twitter, in LinkedIn, and anywhere else that she is posting on her socials. So taking those short snippets is a really good way to be able to cross-promote your content in other areas. Linda, any last questions and thoughts for today? Anything you want to promote?
I really enjoyed just what everybody had to say as far as selling yourself, and that's exactly what we're doing. And I do want to encourage everybody to go to Toastmasters.org. There is an international speaking contest in Las Vegas in August. It should be a lot of fun. They're always great fun. And for us in California, it's a couple hours away. So for me, I'm definitely going to be there, or I plan to. And Toastmasters is more than just speaking, but it's the listening and the leadership as well. So I would encourage everybody to check that out.
And I will add to that, if you're in the Coachella Valley area of California, that's near Palm Springs, where Linda and I are, go to meetup.com/club1969, and that's where you can find information about our club and our meetings. We'd love to have you come down on Thursday mornings, 7:15 a.m. We are early birds for the working people out there. Abbie, now we're on to our special featured guest. Unmute yourself. Do you have any last things that you want to share? And of course, now it's time to promote your Telesummit again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, first I want to thank everybody for participating today. This has been great. It's my first Google Hangout as well, so this has been very interesting. Great to always learn something new. So thank you very much, Mailani, and for your patience with all of us who are new. And yes, I just want to encourage everyone to opt in for the summit. It's going to be fabulous. The wealth of information that will be available for free. As I say, all of the recordings will be available after the fact in a bundle, so you don't have to listen to them every single day as they are released. But please go to theperfectclosesummit.com to opt in, and you just need to enter your name and your email address in the little boxes, and you'll be sent all of the information for how to participate in the summit. So I'd love to see everybody there. It's going to be amazing, and I guess the best part of all of it is that it's free content for you. It's actionable. It's implementable, if that's a word, and you'll actually come away with tips and strategies and techniques that you can change your business with immediately. And that's really, I think, what all of us are looking for, is how to get to that next step. It's why I call my business Eyes on Greatness, because I am a true believer that everybody can be great. And we just need to know the tools, we just need to have those techniques, and we can all be great. So if you participate in the summit, you'll get everything you need.
Awesome. And Abbie, I'm going to ask you to go and leave a comment in the event page listing with the link to that Summit sign-up page, registration page. It is in the event description, but it's a little far down. People don't always like to scroll that far down, so why not reinforce it? I want to thank all of my guests who came in today, and especially all my new guests who came in, Abbie, Joyce, and Erlend, because they're real troopers, they're new to Hangouts, and they really stuck with it, despite that we had some difficulties with to the technology in the beginning. Things are a little bit, you know, for the past week on Hangouts, things have been a little bit glitchy, and we Hangout hosts are kind of used to that, aren't we, John? It just means that there's some new bells and whistles coming down the line that will be good. But one thing to see how somebody really works is to see how they work under pressure. Right. And when they're coming in for the first time on a Hangout and they're all excited, and then, oh my God, the host disappeared. What happened to her? Because she's crashed and has to restart her computer, and they're not freaking out. Well, you know, that just goes to show that they can handle things under pressure, and I think that's part of the skills of being a great salesperson as well. It's taking what comes to you, and also another thing we learn about in Toastmasters. Okay, that's it. I'm going to end the show. Have a great day, everybody. Come back and join me again in 2 weeks on the first and third Fridays of every month for the TGIF Business Networking Hangout. The next episode is going to be on Friday, June 19th. So come back again, 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. I'm your host, Melanie MacDonald. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.